Working through the notes, part 3. G-I-S-T, that is law. G-E-I-S-T as in zeitgeist, spirit, toff the times. Presuming that money is virtue by doing good and ego-godly works. Radical root. You have to do the wrong thing to make it right. I don't know what I wrote. I know that you need to change the reflection. And you can add anything else you want onto that. Hat. To have it be at, to have it be bat. And bath, tin and hen in advance. COL, I believe it's just one L, is the lowest part of a valley, and in origin, I believe it's neck. BU, bushel, a place where you store a large amount of something. Language engineering, love is L-E, every yet thing, every yet tin, hinge, hand, in thine, tine. AI, artificial intelligence. I would say consider your TC, which is art, making art, and its trajectory. With who? Towards what? That tells you everything about your artificial intelligence. It tells you everything about its heart, okay? It's not actually brave to deal with war as a coward. Female saint, street to everything. I often think of it as sight. TIG, that's a type of weld. TOG, that's a type of clothing. And I believe STOG is thermal, heat. To tug, to suggest, to SOG, SIG, signature. ERE, before. H, the hydrogen. Speaking honestly, one-on-one. To carry the sum. She is juicy and trouble. That was that was in the lyrics of the Bee Gees CD I was listening to on the way to Canada and back. Minnow's polishing his dog bowl because I put gravy in it now. T's asked, as you Seth is a rich man. ETH, third person. Set the hat, eye for an eye, 8. In a circular fashion, in a loop, in a cycle. Testate. Testate is a living will. So I'm just kidding here. I don't usually try to beguile that way, but I'll do it this time with explanation. T's asked, you know how it's going to end on this framework and fretwork, even. The most important thing that I wanted to nail down, you don't have a third person that is God, okay? Unless it's your ego. Let me put it this way. You don't have a third person that is God, that is a value and value producer. Revend, R-E-V, the dream, it surveys, it weighs, in different Latin languages. You do not have a value producer, Revend, R-H, heaven, and Reeve, the dream. You don't have a God, okay, as a third person that does that hat, okay? Hat, chat, hatch, chit chat, okay? You don't have that. I think the third person was developed to have a wider reflection to protect yourself in your deflection, okay? Because all you're carrying is hyphenated ass, proof, ass, profit, tooth, had do with you. Doer and doer red, doer red, do it, debit through, you are wet, red, you are wed, red, two with words that are red, okay, again, thevent. You don't have a God that produces value. And a valuer, R-H-E-A-D, do with you, in follow through. This has never happened. It was impressed on me by myself, by my own knowing and knowing you, that I should really make that point, okay? Because you need to know what you're getting into, and there's no God here, okay? There's no God that would send Tao with war, okay? to have it restored and sorry, the same amor that is red, de again. That's absurd, and it's offensive. It's offensive not to know better, not to know an able better, and able BLETTHEREAD. Absolutely. There's an artist in the gallery downstairs, and he paints X's and O's, among other things. And I listen to him, and so I know that while it looks like he's using acrylics because of the bright colors, he actually is using oils, and he will build up texture on very simple colors. And I say simple, what I mean is he's using oil, but he's not using it classically, where you might blend those colors. Say if you were doing a portrait of someone, and skin tone and shadow and finely parsing nuance in color. He paints in solid, often primary colors, and X and an O, and things that look like tarot cards. And he does build up texture. He does paint a wet on wet. And so he asked me what I thought of his show. And before I could answer, he said, because he said a friend of his told him that it was, a 2-year-old can do it. And, just prior to meeting him outside and him asking me what I thought of his artwork, I had spoken with Michael, who is a silk painter here. I expressed that I thought it was sophomoric, but it's growing on me, and that I had spoke with him, and so that I understood that his process better. And there are things that I do like about it, that I can see in the simplicity, because I tend to like bold graphic art and line and simplicity. So I did explain to him that what I do appreciate is something that looks simple is you get there in a process of extracting, of removing everything you don't need, okay? And then simplicity isn't just simple, it's elegant, okay? It's sophisticated, having gone through that process. He was upset because he felt he was upset because he couldn't get his friend's comment out of his head, and then when he looked at his work, he couldn't see it any other way. And so he had angst, and he was upset, and he was asking me, but he was kind of plying me to give him a line so he can make the other guy wrong. And I kept having to be like, wait, I said, first of all your art is Tao with war, so you're not going to make any meaning in follow through, okay? I don't care if it's classical or not, but if you're going to take it to an art gallery or a museum, they have their own hierarchy of credentials they're looking for to critique and view that, That aside, it's still your process, and your friend was not involved in your process, and understanding that. That said, you've given your friend time, and your friend can only honestly be a jerk back to you. And when you're asking him to love your work of art and follow through with Tao with War, you're asking him for emotion that might be taxing on top of already being taxed, okay? For no reason, all right? So, I went back and forth with him in terms of, he kept wanting to, like, that guy's a jerk, and be like, nope, you didn't give the time. And honestly, that's his only job, okay? That's the only job he has in your reflection, okay? You know? So make quality art or not, you have no follow through, meaning some met thing, okay? Some of me, so met the tin and thine hind and hinge, okay? Even, okay? For me, being pulled out and asked a question, and I sit on the fence, okay, in terms of, I gave you my value, now what are you going to do with it? Can you track with me? Can you seek follow through? Most times it doesn't happen. In fact, it's never happened, okay? But I haven't pushed it to this point or put it to this point for follow through, which we have right now, okay? Which is making me even more refined in terms of, don't be asking for my opinion unless you want it for a reason. Re-ask, H-O-N-E, okay? Because none of it's fair. You know, you're using me just to post knit on NIT that you cared with my hair, okay? Lice lay their eggs close to the scalp, on the hair, and then they grow out with the hair. And it's the weirdest thing, okay? Besides lice as a meta, when you think of the chain, the food chain, it goes in a cycle, everything for a reason, everything's accounted for, like, well, the mosquito eats this, and that eats that, and this eats that, you know, from the apex predator down to, you know, the smallest microbe. But nothing eats the lice. So it's struck me as an odd meta when I think about that. I can't reason it. I can't have faith and believe in its value. I can't make it work for me as a meta and as a value. I understand its function. No, I don't understand its function. I really don't. Okay. It wants the warmth of your scalp to lay its egg. The bug hatches, follows gravity, and eats your head. Eats the blood on your head. Eats, dines, poops. Procreates. Spreads out. It's a weird thing with, you can take an egg, even the shell, after it's hatched, the glue is so good it will still stick to your hair, but you could take like a thumbnail and you can grasp that egg and you could slide it down the hair shaft, and it's the weirdest glue because you can move the egg and then it'll still stay stuck and glued to your hair at just a different location. There's nothing man-made that does that, and I don't know how it slides and still can stick. And I think it has something to do with the hair shaft, because the hair shafts, you know, lay on top of each other. Like a snake skin, okay? It's directional. I think that has something to do with it. All right, so 3 parts. I get this up, something for you to chew on as I work on going to market.